everyone. Welcome to First Lutheran in Muskegon, Michigan. Welcome to our faith formation class called Holy Moly. We are so glad that you're here today. And Jolene, I'm glad you're here today too. What in the world do you have on your head?
Oh, I've just been so busy cleaning and cooking. I'm having friends over today.
Wow. Well, it looks like you're working really hard. And gee, we're going to have a story about a couple ladies that have Jesus coming over. And one of them is working so hard, and one of them is listening to Jesus' story. I'm glad that you took a break, Dolene, to listen to the story today.
Well, thanks. I wouldn't miss it.
Great. Are you ready, everyone? Let's go. The name of our story today is called Mary and Martha. Jesus and his disciples were traveling. Along the way, Jesus decided they would visit with their friends, Mary and Martha. Mary and Martha were sisters, and they lived together in a house. They got along very well. Well, most of the time. While Jesus visited with them, Mary sat on the floor and listened to Jesus teach. Martha, on the other hand, was very, very busy. She didn't have time to sit down. Oh, she cooked olives and fish and bread, and she cleaned and cleaned, sweeping the dirty floor and shaking out the mats and rugs. Martha worked hard to make Jesus' visit special. As she hurried around, she saw Mary sitting down with Jesus.
Why doesn't she help me with the cleaning?
A few minutes later, Mary was still sitting and Martha was still working. Martha got a little bit angry.
She could at least help me get this meal ready. All these people to feed, and she isn't helping one bit.
Martha continued hurrying around, getting angrier by the minute. As she swept, she thought,
Mary knows how to use a broom.
As she cooked, she said to herself,
I think my sister could at least stir this pot.
As she got water and towels ready for cleaning Jesus' hands, she grumbled to herself.
All this company, and I'm doing all the work, as usual.
Finally, when she was still working and Mary was still setting, Martha couldn't take it anymore. She burst into the room and she interrupted what Jesus was saying, put her hands on her hips and said angrily,
Mary, please get up and help me. Jesus, tell Mary to get up and do something.
Jesus stopped what he was doing. Everything was quiet for a minute. Finally, Jesus looked at Martha with love. And with love, he said,
Martha, Martha, you are worried about every little thing. Thank you for your work to make my visit comfortable, but you do not need to worry about all those things. Mary has decided to sit and listen to me, and that is a good decision.
Maybe I should sit down and listen to what Jesus has to say, at least for a minute. Maybe Mary has a good idea.
Oh, she sat and listened, and that was a good decision, Dolene.
Miss Paula, I can understand why Martha was so upset. She was doing all the cleaning and cooking, and Mary was just sitting there.
Well, Dolene, it looked like Mary was just sitting there, But Mary was doing a very important thing when she was sitting there. She was listening to Jesus. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And listening to Jesus was the most important thing.
Okay, so when your friends are over, the most important thing is to sit and be with them.
Yes, Dolene. We know that there are lots of things that have to get done, but Jesus told Martha the best thing to do was to be with your friends.
And especially when your friend is Jesus.
That's right, Dolene. Boy, are you a good listener.
Thank you.
It's time to gather your craft supplies and join Miss Susan. And if you never want to miss another one of our videos, be sure to subscribe down below. Woo woo!
Welcome to today's Bible adventure. Today we're talking about Mary and Martha. Did you have fun last week with the Good Samaritan and playing with the Good Samaritan little first aid kits? Well, we're continuing on hospitality, being good friends. And with Mary and Martha, they were two sisters and they were good friends with Jesus. We're also talking about a word called hospitality, which means it's the ability and willingness to welcome visitors. So Martha welcomed Jesus, but is frustrated doing housework. Have you ever invited a friend over? Did you have to clean up before they came over? I think we've all been there. And so Martha was frustrated and thought, this isn't fair that Mary is sitting there. But I'm really glad that you got to see Miss Paula and the Puppets too, because you could see in the story what the important part was and what Jesus was trying to teach us. And he wasn't only teaching Martha, but he's teaching us still to this day. With this story, we learned that Jesus said, there is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken away from her. And Jesus loved Mary and Martha for who they were, not for what they did, not for how clean the house was. So Jesus wants us to sit and listen. So we included in your trinket packets a little sticky note that says, Mary and Martha. Martha did not need to work so hard to impress Jesus. Put down your broom and sit with Mary to take notes and listen to Jesus. So we've included a little notepad so that you can take notes. And we also included a little bitty broom to remind you to put the broom down and listen and take notes. And that's what Jesus was trying to teach them, and again, still teaching us to this day. For the younger kids in your activity packets, we've got Mary and Martha, and you open it up, and we're gonna do a picture frame. So do you see a picture frame right there? Well, we're gonna cut that out. So cut this in half, and then cut out all the little, I call them gingerbread men, but the gingerbread cookies, and they have on there, friends help, and you can trace the word help. Friends share, and you can trace the word share. Friends listen, trace the word listen. And friends, and it's a blank line, and that's where you can fill in what you think a good friend would do. So we're gonna cut those four out, and then we're gonna have our picture frame. So I've got my picture frame cut out, but you see those blue lines in the center? It's kind of difficult to cut. So you're gonna need to poke a little hole, and then you're gonna have to take your scissors from the middle and cut. So I'm gonna cut this last piece here from the center and stop. So now I've got, it looks kind of funny, but what you need to do is push these back because you see the dots? We're gonna fold it where the dots are. So fold those dots, make sure the dots are on the outside, and then you're gonna have little triangles. So I'm gonna glue or tape those down. Actually, tape might be better, it might hold better. And then I'm going to do all 4 sides. And again, you'll fold that triangle in. Oh, and this one goes to the other side. That one goes all the way to the back, so I'm gonna glue it on the back. And then I've got 2 more. 1. Ooh, sometimes they're a little bit tough to fold. That one. And then I've got 1 more. Okay, there's my frame. There's my picture frame. I'm gonna glue that together. There. Okay, so now I've got my frame. It's a little bit more sturdy because I folded those triangles over. And then those 4 gingerbread cookie shapes, I colored them, I traced the words, and on my blank line I wrote "Friends forgive," because we want to forgive each other too, just like Jesus taught us. And then I'm going to put all of my friends in the collage. Now, I didn't have a spare piece of paper handy, so I just used the back of the instruction page. Kind of like recycling, right? So then I'm gonna glue this frame to that extra piece of paper. And then I've got my picture of my friends. And it helps remind me about the good lovingness of friends and what we can all do to be better friends. So that's for the younger kids. And I wonder what other ways we can be friends to people we meet. Just think about all those ways. And then for the older, more advanced kids, you're gonna do a balancing act because Martha was struggling to balance the chores and being a good host to her guest, Jesus. So she was trying to balance everything and it was pulling her in one direction and the other. And so you're gonna make a balancing act, balance beam. So you open it up and then you're gonna cut all the blue lines. So cut those blue lines. So you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll have 6 rectangles of Mary and Martha. And then you're gonna have one really odd shape over here. So you cut those out. And then there will be 6 big paper clips in your packets. And you're gonna need those because this is where you're gonna do your balancing act. So on one side, you've got fun and school and family on the other side. And then you can just keep going with the paper clips and trying to balance it and see how you can balance your life and all that you want to do. Like, what do you do for fun? You can draw and ride a bike or rollerblading or all kinds of activities. And then in school, what's your favorite subject? And then for family, who you'd like to visit. And you can see how much we want to do all the time. So we do have to find that balance too. And don't forget to sit and listen and remember about your faith and what Jesus was trying to tell us, what is important in this life. So we're going to pray. Here, the summary of today is Jesus visited 2 sisters, Mary and Martha. Mary sat at Jesus' feet and listened to his teaching. But Martha was distracted by all the housework she needed to do. When she told Jesus to have Mary help her, Jesus told Martha that Mary was right to sit and listen. Listening to Jesus is so important that we don't want to let other things distract us. So our prayer for today, balancing God, your love keeps us steady when we feel like problems are tipping us over. Help us keep you at the center every day to balance our work and our play. Amen. Thank you for joining us for another Bible adventure. We'll see you next time.